Welcome into Sports Idiot Nation. Today is Friday, September 26th. We had about 28 seconds of football last night, so that was good. Also, we'll find out who you got rising for Judge or Big Dumper, and who is starting an NFL team first, Goodell in Europe or Sean Alexander?
Sports, comedy, pop culture, and everything in between. By idiots, for idiots. And Halloween came early at the Harrington household. I decided to go dressed as the Arizona Cardinals kicker today, trying to stay inconspicuous, looking like the Unabomber. At least I look better than the Cardinals did last night in the tortilla shell jerseys.
Yeah, here's their jersey, tortilla. This is Sports Idiot Nation.
Sports, comedy, pop culture, and everything in between. Welcome back, sinners. This is Season 2 of Sports Idiot Nation.
Welcome into Sports Idiot Nation. New episodes drop every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You know the deal. It is Friday. We're in a good mood. Even though that game was such a stinker. I'm here with, of course, Miles Behind Enemy Lines. We joked about 28 seconds of football. That's like how much of it was good. It was a stinker of a game until the fourth quarter when the teams actually started. The team bus arrived. I don't know what happened. It was just like, let's get this over with. And then all of a sudden I was going to we talked about this. I was going to blast Marvin Harrison Jr. for being just an absolute dud. And then all of a sudden he shows up, makes two big catches, a touchdown. And I'm like, okay, maybe his dad didn't murder those people. All right.
I remember when I drafted Marvin Harrison last year for his rookie year in the second round, being psyched like, man, I am taking the gamble, taking the rookie that early, but it's going to pan out. This guy's going to have one of the best rookie receiver years since Randy Moss. And then he decided to play football for the first time last night with only about 5 minutes to go. Huge touchdown, get him back in it, and then that big time catch to set him up for a touchdown, only for their idiot kicker to miss the damn landing zone by about 30 inches.
Yeah.
I mean, less than a yard. And that turns into first down and 10 at your own 40-yard line. And Seattle, makes one play. Initially, they're running up to the line with 10, 9, 8. Call a timeout. What are you doing? Get up and spike the ball. No, he was out of bounds. So let's reset the clock to 18 seconds, give them their timeout back, and let's just all go home because it was inevitable. Seattle wasn't missing two kicks in a row. And Arizona, Arizona'd.
So dumb. I'm an NFC West guy, but man, that's hard to watch. And then next week we got another NFC West. So get used to it. The other two teams play. So hopefully that's a better game. I mean, the ending was good.
Please.
The ending was good. If you only watched the last 7 minutes of the game, you would have thought, wow, what a fantastic foosball game.
I wish I did. I wish I didn't waste the rest of my night. And that was actually most of the game that I missed because I had to go transition in the little one. I had to flip over to my phone. And then I see, it's a one-score game, getting all the text between you and other buddies that Marvin Harrison Jr. has appeared. Senior actually does have a kid after all. And then I saw where they tied it up at the end after Marvin Harrison made that other good catch. And then finally the missed drop zone kick. God, it's just weird to even say. I can't even say it right because it's so freaking weird. Basically, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, after bringing back the XFL, ruined last night's game.
Yeah, if you don't know the rules for NFL kickoff, you have to put it in the landing zone is literally what it's called. And it's between the goal line and the 20. And that's why you see these kickers just kind of pooching it out there to about the 5-yard line so that the team can run it out and you can tackle them at about the 20 is the idea. If you kick it all the way to the end zone, they get it at the 30 or 35, one of those.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
if you don't kick it in the landing zone, so if you kick it at the 20.5 yard line or the 21 yard
As,
line, you get
as
it
we saw.
all the way to the 40. So now when all you need is a field goal, it's like, dude, we
You might as
called
well
it.
just kick the ball out of bounds. Just kick it straight out of bounds if you're going to do that.
Yeah, like, come
Don't
on.
pooch it, and it's over the top. I get the point of it though, especially in moments like that. Don't pooch it short. We actually want a real return, so you get punished for it. Absolutely. It's gone too far. Just
It's
bring
just
back real
dumb.
football. And
Yeah.
honestly, it's moments like this where that basic bitch says, I don't like football. Well, they actually had some foresight because they saw eventually the game was going to get ruined. They were just letting you know ahead of time,
Yeah.
like, get me a time machine. All the girls that said it, you actually kind of had a point. And honestly, the first 55 minutes of the game last night, typically just Thursday night football in general, is exactly why women say, I don't like football.
Yeah. It was not fun except for the last, like I said, 8 minutes. What's also not fun is when you have, at this point of the year, not 4 games in, and you have all these injuries. So Bosa, CeeDee Lamb, Najee Harris, Mike Evans,
Joseph Burrow,
yes, Derrick Henry's hurt feelings. You
his
have just
arms, his
a lot.
hands, his chest.
What's his name from the Chargers, linebacker? Khalil Mack.
Right.
Um,
Yep.
I mean, it's too much. It is way too many. Kittle, way too many big names who are out. Where it's like, okay, what do you think? Whose injury? Well, nah, it's Burrow. There's not even, like, how do you make a good
Well, it's not more
podcast out of
shocking.
this? Like, oh wait, never mind. It's
What,
Joe Burrow.
what
And
blows my mind is there are 100 million obese people in the United States, and the Cincinnati Bengals can't find 5 to block for his ass.
yeah, it is very wild what they are doing. Um, and Aaron Rodgers is like, I should have waited. Like, he could have thrown to Jamar Chase
Oh my God, dude. I
or the Vikings.
really am,
McCarthy's.
well, and I was thinking about that earlier yesterday with Joe Burrow, who I truly believe could have been. It's almost at the point where we know where this is going. His career is going to be completely destroyed. I really truly believe Joe Burrow is the top 10 quarterback of all time. And I get that he's had Jamar Chase on 2 levels. He had JJ at LSU in that amazing 2019 team. But Joe Burrow is really that dude. But you have to keep him on 2 feet. Laying on
Yeah.
his back, looking towards the sky doesn't work. And then he's going to be sitting in the locker room. It blows my mind that Cincinnati cannot find a way to invest at least in 4 decent offensive linemen. You just really need 4, and they can't even get there.
So in the preseason, we were talking about Joe Burrow taking hits. He played too much of the preseason, I thought. Like, no other starting quarterback of his stature played that much. Played so many series. The last game, he's running for his life, getting hit. Like, it was, you could see the writing on the wall. This dude is not going to make it for a 17-game season. And now it doesn't even make sense for him to come back at all this year. If it's a 3-month deal, week 16? What's that gonna matter?
Right, late December. And when you have Jake Browning laying an egg and getting blown out by 30 against a team like Minnesota coming off a loss to Atlanta, Cincinnati ain't going to do a damn thing, especially with
No.
Baltimore is going to be just fine. Pittsburgh seems at least competent enough with a 60-year-old Aaron Rodgers, and the Browns are
And
good enough at least to
Cleveland,
beat the Packers. They're good enough to beat the Packers.
yeah,
They'll pick up a few wins here and there. So, I
Miles
mean,
Garrett.
it's honestly at the point where you might as well just tank it out. And I know in the NFL teams don't really do that, but you have to make a massive change. It really starts at the front office. We know the
That's not
abomination that
happening.
is the Cincinnati Bengals organization is. It has been for forever. They're almost as bad as the Jones family down here. There's got to be a big shift, though. We talk about it during NBA season at the end last year about the load management. Do they need to cut down from 82 games, especially with all these megastar injuries come postseason? But now we're talking about it here in week 4 in the NFL. 17 games, at least for this season. You can't make that argument. We're still in mid-September, I guess late September now, but we're not even to the anywhere near the midpoint of the year. We're a quarter of the way through, not even that, honestly. But when you do have situations where you have guys playing in the preseason all, well, they're coming off injury, so let's get them back in the groove. Some situations they may just need more rest. And Joe Burrow playing the preseason the way he did, man, he looked good. But of course, a Hall of Fame level quarterback. I don't know if he's going to get there because of everything that's happened to him and it is going to still happen to him. But he has obviously that talent. We all know that. Taking on basically, JUCO players that are just trying to make a 53-man roster. He's going to light their ass up. Play him for 2 drives like everyone else and sit him down. We know what he is. You should know what he is. He is worthy of saving, and they aren't doing it.
Yeah, they're definitely not doing it. Some changes, like you said, need to be made in Cincinnati. Some changes that already have been made in Tennessee and New York. So my thing with New York in starting Jackson Dart is I get that you want to unleash him at home where the fans are really going for it, but then just find a home game that's maybe not against an undefeated team. You do know where like I know the schedule. I would think someone in the New York Giants organization also knows the schedule. They may even have it on their phone. Like, oh, here's the schedule. Like, oh, it's just right here, guys.
Well, let's help him out. So I'm going to enter my password into my phone. I'm going to go to my Internet Explorer down here. I'm going to go to google.com. Oh, it's even auto-completed for me. So that's nice. I recommend visiting Google more often, New York Giants, so you can have it pull up, and I'll pull up New York Giants. I got to make sure it's the New York
The New York
Giants
football Giants, yeah.
and their schedule. Now Central Time. I get on East Coast. It's a different time zone, so I'll go ahead and say 12 here will be 1 o'clock out there on the
Local.
East. Is that correct?
1 o'clock.
Okay.
Local, yeah.
So Sunday, September 28th. That's the correct date. I see a team with a Thunderbolt, and it has the name Chargers. And you said they're undefeated, correct?
And a goose egg in the lost column.
At the end. Okay.
Is what you
Okay.
see. Yeah.
All right. So maybe we can hit up Andrea and the rest of the organization. Just let them know you're playing an undefeated team and a team that might end up winning the NFC West this year, or AFC West. Oh, excuse me, AFC West.
Yeah. You digress.
I do digress.
So actually, pull up old Google there, old buddy, old pal, real quick. Is
I still
there a
got it
home
up.
game? Is there a home game that maybe you would want
just
to
drop
wait?
down.
Like, I know
Well,
the
hell,
following week they might be on the road. But
Yeah, but you're playing the New Orleans Saints the following week. Who cares? And
okay,
also, you don't have the pressure of any fans at that game at all. You basically
right.
play with a COVID stadium. Just play them.
I
The following home game after that's the Eagles, though. So I think you're going to have to hedge your bets, and you should have just waited one more week. Your season's over anyway.
Well, now I will say this. Okay, let's look at this. The fans want Jackson Dart. If he doesn't play this week, and you do play him very first game on the road against a very poor New Orleans team, the pressure is to win. If he loses that, now he comes back and has to play the Eagles. Maybe that's the idea. Look, there's a no-win situation. If he wins on the road against New Orleans, it's like, well, it was New Orleans and the
Why
home team
wasn't he
didn't get to
since
see
week
it.
1? Or why didn't he start since week 1?
Yeah, it's I guess like a
Yeah.
damned if you do, damned if you don't. So they're like, well, just throw him out there to the Wolves right now, I guess.
Yeah, and maybe prove the fans wrong. Like, this is why we aren't going to start him yet. But you want it that bad. Here you go. And then the defense gives up 50 against Justin Herbert. They're like, well, see, we told you so. He wasn't ready.
did we just talk ourselves out of all that and actually say that the Giants made the right decision? I think we just went backwards in real time.
I think the wrong decision was drafting Jackson Dart in the first round. That was the wrong decision back in April of the year of our Lord 2025. He to me he ain't the answer. Sorry. Not that a washed out Russ was either, but you're the New York Giants. You just kind of got to give up at some point.
Basically, we are both Jameis Winston apologists. This whole spiel was for
Gotta
throwing
bring him to
Jameis.
Tennessee, man. Yeah, right. I'm
So
just thankful to be here, man.
great segue.
I
Uh,
still love crab legs.
yeah, great segue with Tennessee. Something burger, cheeseburger, or nothing burger.
Nothing. It's nothing.
It's nothing. The play calling still should be just as bad.
At this point, what difference does it make? I mean, does it get the blame off him?
Yeah,
I don't know. It doesn't matter. There's going to be a new coaching staff next year. Everyone knows that. He knows
yeah.
it.
He's not
And
christening
maybe
that new stadium.
I think he's trying to save a little face for his next job, which will not be a head coaching position, but a change had to be made. So I guess that's the way it is without actually firing anyone after 3 damn games this season.
So
To
bad.
bring it back to your point about he's not christening the new stadium, I saw a great one that I sent you all yesterday of, you know what? Actually, Tennessee, the city of Nashville, should leave the old stadium while still building the new one and keep the Titans in the old stadium. And let's bring a new team to the city to play in the new stadium. Maybe they'll be better and actually worthy of a multi-billion-dollar facility because the Titans sure
Yeah,
as hell aren't. And
yeah.
whoever their head coach will be. But this whole trend, I feel like Tennessee, and it's not just the Titans, it was multiple franchises. They're saying, okay, who's a guy that's in their late 30s or early 40s? He's a little white dude. Let's hire him as head coach because it's the Sean McVay effect. He won a Super Bowl, or at least even I think before that got to the Super Bowl, he was the head coach there when they lost the Patriots Super Bowl 53, right? So he loses that Super Bowl, eventually wins then Super Bowl 56 over the Bengals. Oh, Sean McVay's the answer. All right, let's see his stature. Let's see his age. Let's see his pedigree. Then everyone, your Cliff Kingsbury's who failed in Arizona. Yeah, you have Zach Taylor in Cincinnati, who's right there. Kid doesn't have a quarterback anymore. Part of it, but partly his fault. And then many more. But then obviously you have Brian Callahan in Tennessee, and that experiment, that little scrawny 40-year-old white dude ain't working. Sorry, that experiment has failed.
Yeah. It was like, that's cute. Like,
Bring in the Hoss, man. Detroit did it right.
yeah. Yeah, Detroit actually, I thought from the preseason, they just did not look like they had their crap together at all. And it
Or
did.
week one.
That's what I'm saying. It did pour out into the regular season. And then they kind of like, I don't know if they took some Tylenol or what, but whatever they did, they definitely snapped. They snap. They snapped back into it.
Jimmy. Yeah, well, they realized we're the Detroit Lions. We're good at football. Yeah, that's a weird thing to still say.
Yeah,
Who are we? We're Detroit, man. Detroit. We're Detroit.
So they definitely look good now. Obviously, the Ravens going the wrong way. But I want to talk about the Ravens because I want to talk sexy NFL matchups, and anytime in the last decade, I suppose you might say, that even with Alex Smith, I mean, anytime KC and Baltimore have gotten together, it's usually a good game. A la just last year, week 1, the famous toe.
Oh, the dirty toe.
Yeah, that dirty toe. Just that size 11 should have been a size 10.
It would have been a
Great
totally
game.
different season. They may have gone to the Super Bowl.
Weird, but I mean, it was a great game. So, what are the keys for you in that game?
I think the key is Kansas City has to snap out of their funk. I mean, that's kind of a weird way to put it, but the key is it's almost like I was saying about Detroit, waking up and saying, "Hey, we're the Detroit Lions. We're actually good at this game."
Right. They had a
It's
bye
Kansas
last
City
week.
putting
They got to play New
right.
York.
I feel like Kansas City's almost let everything into their head of people telling them they're not going to be good this year, and a lot of people will take that when they've been a dynasty and they show out like, no, we are still the team to beat. They have done nothing to show, even against the Giants last week. That was very lackadaisical, and I get you can kind of mail it in against a team like that, even though it's the NFL and you shouldn't.
Yeah.
It's been very weird, but they've got to utilize their home
But
field advantage. So really,
here
I think at the end of it, that what it comes down to is that fan base needs to light a fire under that team's ass.
but here's my
And
question with that. Okay, but hold on. Do they have it in them? I mean, at some
when you
point you
still
get
have
older, you
do, but Patrick Mahomes isn't that old, and he's still him. So I don't see that he doesn't have it. And when you have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, they aren't that old yet. They still have juice. They still have gas left in the tank. So it blows my mind that they can play that poorly for 3 games. But it is not the first time this has happened. There's been multiple seasons in the recent journey of their streak of 8 straight AFC championship games that they've been written off, and they've been written off later in the year than this. There's no question about it. So I think with them aging, there's an element to that. I'm not disowning that, but they're not Tom Brady old or Aaron Rodgers old. They're still youthful enough that they should be pushing for a division. They should be pushing for a conference championship. That there's no reason why we shouldn't believe that they're still going to be them come mid-year. They'll flip on a switch until they prove us otherwise. They're still scary. But again, with the depth of the AFC now, especially the AFC West, now that the Chargers are showing that they're here to stay, the Broncos, we'll see about them later on. They've got to flip that switch sooner rather than later. They get away with it a few years ago, not doing it till like week 7 or 8. Now they got to do it in week 4, and they've got to win this week. If they don't win this week, yes, they are in serious, serious trouble. So I think that's what's most important about this game. It's not Baltimore. Baltimore, I think, regardless of the outcome, will be fine. This game at Arrowhead, it's all about what the Chiefs do with this.
so Kansas City gets the win.
Yes.
Okay. I can't say I disagree. I just think everything you said about Kansas City, if you didn't know any better and you changed up the wording a little bit, you could say the same about Baltimore. Like, what are they doing? They don't have any business losing like they have. Like, they just don't.
I
They're
get that.
too
They shouldn't have lost to
high-powered.
Philly at home. They shouldn't have, but it's not surprising. It's really not surprising, and I think all the off-season distractions have let you talked about preseason bleeding in for a team like Detroit. Preseason thrown off Cincinnati because the overutilization. Well, overutilization of media and social media is getting to Kansas City too, and it's weird too. Like I feel like when Patrick Mahomes is not in the spotlight, this is a revert again. It's so weird. If Patrick Mahomes is in the spotlight and the media is overhyping him, that's when he performs his best. When he
Yeah.
falls away from that, he's an afterthought, and his game becomes an afterthought too. It's very bizarre, but I think Jackson Mahomes needs to step up and do something really stupid and weird again, and that'll help his brother execute one more time.
But we talk about the loser of this game is 1-3.
That's bizarre world.
I mean,
Either way.
come on.
So then that becomes the bigger question. I think I've already answered it, but for you, who's in bigger trouble at 1-3?
So immediately, what a smart person should do is go directly to their division. So let's do that. So
Yeah.
Baltimore, Cleveland, I get they like that division's weird because any team can win when they play each other, even though Baltimore is cream of the
Right.
crop. But they wouldn't be if they're 1-3. Like, okay, but then it's Kansas City. They're in more trouble because the Chargers are better than any other AFC North team, if that makes sense.
Well, considering I would say the Chargers are the second best team in the entire AFC
Well,
and
right.
maybe a threat to
Bills.
be the best team. Yeah,
No,
between them and the Bills right
100%.
now.
100%.
So I think
The
that
Bills should
makes
have
it obvious.
lost.
But
The Bills should have lost a football game this year already. They should have.
they should have. But you
So,
could say that about the Chargers too. Whatever.
yeah.
But neither
that's
here nor
fair.
there. It's the NFL. You can say most teams should lose every week,
You
but
are
the
what
best
your record
teams
is.
find a way to win close football games. Exactly right. You are what your record is in the NFL.
Like the Niners.
Okay.
Which we're not.
All right.
We're not going to talk about. They're the worst 3-0 team in the history of sports. They are the worst 3-0 team. Like,
do you see that Y ball team over there? That's 3-0. They're better than the Niners.
dude,
And it's not even football.
it has been well documented on this show that the 49ers have the easiest schedule. So you will not hear me brag one bit unless we go 19-0. Or was it?
We'll see what you
20-0?
are next Thursday. We'll see what you are on Thursday against the Rams with about half your squad out there.
Exactly. So, yeah. But okay, let's move to Philly and Tampa Bay. What are your keys?
Quarterback play. Again, you're given the simple questions right now. It's like it's the fans. It's I feel like a third grader out here throwing out the keys. But
I'm
I
just Jeff
think
Foxworthy. Are you smarter than?
right. Are you smarter than a dumbass? I think if Baker Mayfield continues on this trajectory, he's actually going to look like a semi decent first overall pick, even though he's still by a mile the third best quarterback of the 2018 draft behind Allen and Jackson. I think that Tampa goes as far as he's going to take them. He's got the weapons around him. Tampa's defense. I mean, I grew up an Eagles fan, and I remember back in the early 2000s, the NFC was all about Tampa versus Philly. They had that incredible NFC Championship game back in 2002 season where Tampa finally won their Super Bowl. So I think it's going to actually boil down, unlike then where it was both defenses were insane. Who's going to make that final stop? Who's going to get that pick six? We saw 23 years ago. But I think now it's what quarterback is going to make it happen on the final drive. Baker Mayfield, 3 for 3 this year. 3 for 3 this year on game-winning drives. If he goes 4 for 4, my God, attention must be paid, because it's not just the fact that he's only 4 for 4. He's doing it against a team like Philadelphia. Not projecting that he's going to, but it's not impossible. It's certainly not impossible. Tampa does have the grit, and they do have the talent to stay with a team like Philly. Philly has not been world beaters either. They're winning games, and they should, but my God, against Dallas, they had their issues. Even against Kansas City, we're seeing what Kansas City may or may not be. But even on the road in Arrowhead, it wasn't like, man, Philly is just far and away better than what Kansas City is and was last year as they beat them down the Super Bowl. So I see Philly being a vulnerable defending Super Bowl champion, even though they're off to a quote-unquote hot start by their record is counting for. So yeah, what quarterback, whether it's Jalen Hurts or whether it's Baker Mayfield making that big play late in the fourth quarter, that's what it's going to come down to in my mind. And again, if Baker Mayfield is the one to do it, Tampa's a serious threat in the NFC, and I can't believe those words are coming out of my mouth right now.
I'll take Baker. Yeah, I'll actually take Baker. I do hate that he doesn't have Mike Evans. Like, man, you feel bad. Like, because I do like Mike Evans, but
he can get it done without him, though. I really feel like he can.
No, he's got the rookie.
He didn't suck. He was in Cleveland.
Yeah. I actually like Baker now. It's been a crazy little journey for one Baker Mayfield, but I'm on board with him definitely against Jalen Hurts. All right, let's end NFL talk. Real quick reminder: Sports Idiot Nation comes to you every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Follow us on social media wherever you get your social media. Also, click the link for the printable link for your different T-shirts. We got hoodies coming very very soon. As is hoodie season is rapidly approaching. So, all right, let's end our NFL talk with this. Um, it's about sex, and Sean Alexander's having a lot of it.
It's about sex, baby, making babies, baby making love. Yeah, I loved in the intro. You said, what's going to happen first? Europe getting an NFL team, or the Alexander's backyard this Thanksgiving? They could have a full squad. At least,
Backyard
hey,
football,
they can play 7-on-7 flag football now. They
7 on
play
7
seven
drills.
ons.
Yeah.
It's 7-ons, as we always said at IU during practice. Going to have really their 15th. Rest in peace. Tragically, they lost a daughter who was 2 months old years back, but now their 14th living child. So yes, we mean it when we say they could play 7-on-7 football coming to a backyard near you.
Congrats. Like I say that with like
Just keep.
14
I'm
kids. What? Like
Yeah, I hear all this shit in the media about the population of the world just collapsing. Well, when you have Sean Alexander and you have Philip
Philip
Rivers and
Rivers.
you had Cromartie, and then you got Nick Cannon just out there doing God knows what.
Yeah. Just
Kids above replacement, they are
nice
winning
job.
this war. Not wins above replacement. It's kids above car. KAR. They're doing
I
just fine over there.
I'm laughing. I'm looking at my phone as we transition. IU just scored again on the Fighting Illini.
Yeah, I
According
think
to
we're
my
recruiting about 6 of those Alexanders too.
yeah.
I mean, I hope they play a different position than running back, because we're pretty stacked there. We got a full running back room, even with losing our star. People don't even realize this. They all talked about the injuries of Illinois. I use number one back Lee Beebe is out for the year, did not play in that game, and we still curb stomped them
Just
by a
unreal.
million and a half.
So
I
uh,
I did not bring this up, but I'll tell you, and I was at this game last year. Before that game kicked off, I was like, this game's given serious Nebraska vibes. And that was the game we won by 50 last year. But I was like, nah, that ain't gonna happen. Illinois, they got too much talent, even though they're a little shorthanded. They weren't 53 points shorthanded. Indiana's just a flat out better football team than they are.
so IU obviously no sophomore slump for Signetti as we can Google him. He wins. Uh Man, I do think it's cool that IU is good at football. It's
It's
hilarious
weird.
that
It's
the
weird.
basketball has not been that great. Like it's just weird, man.
I would say UCLA can relate, but you all just suck at both right now.
Exactly. Exactly. It's all bad.
This
So
week, though, at Iowa, it's no guarantee. We're a better football team, but at Kinnick Stadium, especially with the greatest, and you got to say, it's only a 9-year-old tradition, but it's the best tradition in college. I would say all of college sports, not just college football. With the wave, the
mhm,
kids up there, that was a dirty bastard who was like, "Yeah, I'm really gonna play on the psyche." That was total psyops when they built the children's hospital high and above the football stadium.
yeah.
F you for that.
Yeah.
That is unbelievable. It's
Yeah.
beautiful, but
There's
as
no
an
comeback.
opponent, you already have the pink locker room in the visitors' locker room there in Iowa. So now you're just going to follow that up. Like, you talk about how to soften an opponent.
Yeah.
Hey, they're 2 for 2. So hand that to Iowa. You get it. You get a future Hall of Fame coach, the longest tenure coach, not just the Big Ten in the country now. And IU has not won there in 18 years, but that shouldn't stop IU from anything, because they're not only doing things for the first time in 18
Oh,
or
they're
20 years,
breaking
they're
all
doing
kinds of
things
yeah.
for the first time
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah,
First
yeah,
time
yeah. I
ever.
still got IU. Um so who do you got now? Well, I know who you got. You got USC against Illinois, right?
I don't know, man.
That
I watched
quarterback
that
looks good at
USC game.
USC.
Yeah, but there's two sides of the ball, and USC's defense ain't Indiana's. It's absolutely not the same level of defense. The game's back in Champaign, Urbana, and we'll see. But here it is. And we talked about what are the keys to the game, and I think for a number of these games, they're so simple. People try to break down. They get so molecular and granular with it. Football, it might be a complicated story. We had Johnny Dell on Wednesday. He broke it down very well, the whys and hows, we get all of that. But when it comes to the psyche of the game, I'm sorry, it's very simple because human beings are human beings. This comes down to how do those 18 to 22-year-olds bounce back for Illinois mentally? That will decide the game on both sides, because I think balance-wise, Illinois has more talent than USC does. Maybe not offense to offense, but when we take both sides of the ball and special teams in there, Illinois, I think, is a better football team on paper, I think. At home, do they crumble and are like, shit, our year's over? Or do they look at the Reds' schedule and go, holy crap, we get USC at home, we get Ohio State at home, and then beyond that, we are going to win every other game. So if they choose mentally to bounce back and beat a beatable team that they can put 35 points, 38 points up on the board, they can be fine. They could win that game. They could still go 10-2 this year. They're not going to beat Ohio State even at home. Forget it. But they have an IU 2024 type schedule. Their schedule is cake the rest of the way. Like, their toughest game outside of USC at home and Ohio State at home is like Washington on the road. It ain't nothing. So Illinois can still have a very, very good season. And if they take care of business this week and they competitive against Ohio State, they could still somehow wind up in the playoff conversation. Not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying the cards are still in their hand for this season.
Yeah.
Whether
but they'll
whether
fumble
they
them,
just
is what I think.
and that's fine, and that's totally fine to believe that. But the what this all boils down to is where are they at mentally, and will their staff have them ready, as they completely were not this last week.
Yeah, that's why I hate USC, but I do have them coming in win. What about LSU and Ole Miss?
Dude, I'm impressed with what Ole Miss did, and I get they were playing Tulane, but Tulane's a good team. Tulane's a good team. Ole Miss took them to the woodshed, and the Ole Miss game and the Texas Tech win last week just totally got bypassed because of what my Hoosiers did to Illinois. Tulane was right in line to be the group of 6 team to make the playoff. Well, not anymore, because they got totally shellacked by Ole Miss. LSU, I don't believe in. LSU is way overrated because of their week 1 win over Clemson by a single score.
Which
and
Clemson is not.
We see what and there are elements that had Clemson won that game, they might be undefeated right now. Things happen, especially when we're talking about children. I don't care that nowadays you have like 25, 26-year-olds that play 8 seasons. They're still kids. Yeah. And it's just, it's in their psyche. So Clemson may have turned out to be different, but the reality is that they're 1-3. They got blasted this last week by Syracuse, and LSU struggled. I get night game. It was a big game for week 1, sans the Miami Notre Dame game. But LSU, they got to go out and prove it. Real quick, is that LSU Ole Miss? Where's that game at?
Ole Miss.
You got it in front of you? It's it's in Oxford. I like Ole Miss, and I don't think they'll win by a couple scores, but I think Ole Miss wins that game by 5.
Yeah, I think LSU being overrated, and the game is at Ole Miss. Like, it's not much to talk about, but it's number 4 versus number 13. It's number 4 versus number 13, so we got to talk about it, right? Yeah. The next game then is Alabama, Georgia.
They both suck. They both suck.
All right, well,
Georgia will find a way to get. Stockton will run the ball enough because that's all he can do. And Georgia will find a way to win that because they have a better coaching staff. And Stockton's
Much better. Much better.
not a completely, ever, see, he shouldn't have left Washington. We get it. I love the guy. He led IU to an incredible offense in 2019. That the entire Alabama staff damn near came from IU in 2019-2020 season. So
Yeah.
I hate Bama, but in that regard, I have a soft spot. But I also like that they're kind of tanking the program. That's cool too. No, I don't wish for their failure. I really don't. But
Yeah.
Georgia, they got too much. But Georgia will get exposed this year. I promise you that. I absolutely promise you.
They'll beat
Gunnar
Bama,
Stockton
but
will get exposed, and Georgia playoff included. I think Georgia does make the playoff, but I could see them losing 3 games this year, including in the playoffs.
all right. So I'm getting some stats for the real game is, as we know,
On
Oregon
NBC.
and 7:30 Eastern time. So 12th in the nation is Oregon, 523 yards, but passing 28th, like not as good, 266, but 10th in rushing, 255 yards. I'll start with my key to the game is if Oregon gets 201 yards or more, they win. That is it. That's my whole thing. I'm excited for the game. What's your key and who you got?
So I gotta point out to your stats. We have to be very careful with looking at stats this early in the season in college football because, especially for Oregon with their schedule and how they've beat the living shite out of most of their opponents, they haven't needed to throw the ball. So we'll find out this Saturday what their
Only
aerial
4
attack
games.
is.
It's been only 4 games.
That's
Yeah.
fine. But I
But
really
ball
do think
control and time of possession. That's
and then you just stole it right out of my mouth, you asshole. Because Oregon, but because you know the game of football every bit as well as I do. College football, maybe not so much. You got me on the NFL. We all know that. But yeah, ball control, and really what it comes down to is I think Penn State's run defense. Can they contain Oregon, and can they get the ball back? And again, that just comes to time of possession. So we know that stadium is going to be nuts. God, IU and
Dude,
again,
I'm so
it all
excited.
comes back to my Hoosiers. We play on the road for both teams this year, and I'm kind of stoked for that. I'm glad that we get a chance to play both teams. I expect us to lose both the games. That's fine, but we get to show who we truly are to ourselves, more importantly, not just the rest of the Big Ten or the country, but to ourselves, what we're really made of. So I'm beyond stoked for this game. IU plays at Iowa on NBC. The slot right before it, and then follow it up with then our next week. We got to buy the following week, and then the week after we're at Autzen. So I get to scout both Oregon and Penn State while just enjoying the best of college football. The only thing I'm worried about is getting a boner.
All right, Michael Scott. Let's shift from there. I could go anywhere. I can shift anywhere from there because the office, it's kind of in limbo there of where I'm going to go. So
how
let's
the
go.
turntables.
Yeah. From there, I guess we'll go into baseball robots. That makes about as much sense as anything. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what AI came up with for you.
Yeah. In my head, I'm like, so, Rob Manfred was on the Dan Patrick show 2 days ago, and I caught that interview. Really good. These robot deals, they're here to stay. They're going to keep coming, and it's going to be like what I'm glad Dan Patrick asked was I will say, the guy from Hot Ones, I forget his name, and Dan Patrick, in my opinion, the 2 best interviewers right out there now. I mean, phenomenal.
Better than Joe
interviews.
Rogan. That's pretty tough to beat. That's pretty impressive.
Well, and the thing about Joe Rogan, real quick, he admits he doesn't do any of the research because he just wants to find out, have a regular conversation. But the problem is that makes you sound dumb sometimes when you may not know certain information that is out there for the world to know. So you have Neil Patrick Harris and you're like, and he says something, and this didn't happen, but
Are you
just an
gay?
example. Yeah, where it's like, well, hold on, just because you didn't know, like 8 million people know that. So it's like, exactly, that was exactly where I was going. So anyway, that's why I don't like Joe Rogan. But Dan Patrick asked him, can you confirm how this is going to go, what it's going to look like for the fans? And I'm glad he did, because in our heads, we're all like, please have it be like tennis. Please have it be like tennis. Please have it be like tennis, where they show it on the screen
Yeah,
and it's like, doop,
the
and it like
ball.
shows
Yep.
if it hits the line. And it is. Can confirm. So I'm like,
Nice.
okay, that's the best way that they could have done it.
I'm in.
I'm in. So
Now, here's the other thing I want to know. Please tell me they're naming it the Angel Hernandez Memorial System.
I'm in. They are. So another funny thing, you brought up an umpire. Another funny thing, he said, how are the umps taking this? I love Dan Patrick. Like,
Yeah.
and he said, and Rob, he goes, well, they're on board. It's like that. Where
They're
you're
trying
like,
to sink the boat, but they're currently on board.
it's just funny because you know that they're pissed, but Rob can't say that, so he's like, they're breathing. Like, I
They
don't
got
know
the
what to
meme
tell
of
you.
Jim Royce crying like after he screwed over Carranza.
Yeah.
The tears coming down their face.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that, except the best, and it's not arguable, the best framer in the game is Bailey from the Giants, and he is pissed.
He's out of a job.
Yeah. Well, he's hitting like $190, so yeah.
I know that. I've actually kept up with baseball because my Reds are legally still in it. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're screwed now. But I've actually kept up because your Giants were fighting and my Reds are
Yeah.
going to at least be 500 this year. So, okay. But yeah, your catcher had one job and it's gone.
It's got
I took a job.
frame it. Like, now it's done. So
He can go into miming. He can do the miming thing.
So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Okay. Last baseball story. The big dumper. Here's why he's not my MVP. I want to see if you concur or not. He leads the league in the sexiest thing that you can possibly lead it. However, half of the home runs, they're like the night he hit 60. They're up 8-1 in the 7th inning, bro. Like, that's not MVP. It's an awesome stat. I am in awe of a catcher who hits over 60 home runs. Don't get me wrong. However, Aaron
Are you
Judge,
claiming he's a stat stuffer?
I am not an I'm not an Aaron Judge fan, but the dude leads every other statistical category. It's like, I'm sorry,
When
but
the Yankees really needed it this year.
yeah.
Really needed.
So now he did lead the Mariners, the big dumper, to the playoffs, and that's
Division.
uncharted territory.
Party likes 2001, baby.
So I get that argument there. He's got two main. He's got two. You can tell it's fall because now I'm starting
Baseball
to
gods
cough.
are trying to smite you right now for bringing up this blasphemous
The
claim.
argument is he got his team to the playoffs and he hit 60. End of story. That's the argument, and I get that.
And he's a catcher that did that.
Fair. 2.5. But Aaron Judge has like 8 things. Like, well, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not happy about it, but I'm just being real. What say you?
I don't want the Yankees to win anything ever. So
Well,
again, I can only be biased. Yeah, of course I'm going to be biased. And if I was voting, I'd still be biased because you wouldn't know the difference. Well, those that would receive the vote wouldn't know the difference. Yeah, your argument isn't wrong, and really, so many years of bias it being towards big markets like New York, especially in a league without a salary cap. It's going to be tough, and I think the debate goes either way because of what I want to say Cal Ripken did, but what Cal Raleigh has actually done is just so outlandish. For a catcher
Bizarre.
to hit
It
over
is
60
bizarre.
is
Yeah.
unbelievable. So I think really for that feat, they're going to give it, and especially the fact too that Seattle hasn't been relevant in nearly a quarter century now. I mean, this is back when the big unit was pitching
Big
in
number
Seattle
and
before he
yeah.
went to Houston for 35 seconds and then on to Arizona. And obviously, the kid when Griffey Jr. was out there and got Edgar and all those guys,
Jay
they were damn
Buhner.
good.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that they're like, hey, let's just spread the wealth here, because Manfred kind of seems like that kind of dude. I think he's going to win it for that reason. But from a logical standpoint, yes, you make a concrete argument, and if the judge was ruling, judge would win.
All
But
rise.
he is not. So they're going to have to sit down. Cal Raleigh is your AL MVP 2025.
You heard it here first. New episodes of Sports City Nation come to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, which means we will see you Monday. Thank you for watching this episode of Sports Idiot Nation. Remember, we are on all social media and on YouTube, and the podcast can be found on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Remember, new episodes are every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And remember, because you watch Sports Idiot Nation,
you would be the smartest idiot in the whole world.